Hey everybody, this video is going to be about flat Earth, the ridiculous, total ridiculous nonsense of flat Earth that is just so stupid. And I don't use the word stupid too often, but it definitely applies to this flat Earth garbage. It's been forced on me. It's in my recommended viewing. I'm not interested. I've never been interested in flat Earth. I looked into it a little bit. All the points were just totally ridiculous. I couldn't believe that people were actually serious about it. Um, it continues to baffle me. I think most of the people pushing it are probably shills. I think it's very coincidental that it's gotten such huge support so quickly over the last year. It has just totally exploded. Every time I look at the recommended viewing on the right section of YouTube or in the other area of recommended viewing, it's flat Earth videos all over the place, just up the butt. There's flat Earth videos. Personally, I think the purpose is to connect flat Earth to conspiracies, other conspiracies that are legit, and then throw the baby out with the bathwater. Because, oh, you're one of those flat Earth people, right? You think Sandy Hook was a hoax? You're a flat Earther. Or you think the moon landings were fake? You're a flat Earther. Or you think the ISS is fake? You're a flat Earther because um, those are the people that believe the ISS is fake. Actually, no. People were pointing out the ISS was fake long before the flat Earth Psyop began. So anyway, one of the main, well, a lot of the people from 9/11 Truth Movement and Sandy Hook Truth have suddenly come out as flat earthers, come out of the closet as flat earthers. One of those people being Sophia Smallstorm, a lady who said, "Oh, that's," when I pointed out Nancy Lanza was Annie Haddad, goes, "Oh yeah, that's very interesting. That's very interesting," and then she would never talk about it again. And she put out this bizarre Sandy Hook in 5 dimensions video that's just, it's not very good. Anyway, she becomes a flat earther, and I'm gonna look at one of the videos she created, and where she's just going along with this flat earth stuff, and I'm gonna attempt to cover all the points that they bring up. And the thing that flat earthers do is they bring up a whole bunch of points really fast and never cover any of them in any sort of detail. So they just barrage you with all these little points like, oh, you can't see you can see a skyline. You can see a skyline from across the lake. And then they move on to the next point and they say, and the sun the sun is a capacitor that rotates around the North Pole, and you're not allowed to go to Antarctica. It's totally off limits, and there's not constant daylight in the South Pole, even though a lot of people go down there and see constant daylight, and there's film of the sun never setting in the South Pole. And there's no airplane flights that go near the South Pole. And one of my favorite ones is, if you look at the Earth, it's all curved, and water always tries to go flat, so it can't possibly be a circle because water tries to go flat and the water would be falling off the other side. This is actually stuff that they're saying. They are acting like gravity doesn't exist, and I guess they're ignoring the fact that every single other planet that's observable through a telescope is round, and we just happen to be this unique disk. Or actually, some people say that the Earth is just this, it's a puddle on the huge ice sheet that extends however far, with potentially other capacitors out there. Anyway, you get the idea. And somehow the whole entire solar system and all the stars are rotating around this huge sheet that's a puddle. So I'm just going to take this. I'm going to take all the statements made in the Sophia Smallstorm video one at a time, and we're just going to kind of go from there. This could take a while, but it has to be debunked correctly, and it's going to take as long as it takes to get through this. So bear with me. It might be a few segment video here.
Hello everyone, this is Sophia Smallstorm. I'm doing another interview today, podcast, not really an interview, it's going to be a discussion. The topic today is going to strike some people as very bizarre, maybe ludicrous, but apparently this is the new hot topic, and I have learned that people are looking into it privately, aren't telling others that they're looking into it for fear of being considered too out there or having lost their marbles. And I started looking into it because I was getting a couple of emails here and there, and I had looked into it before, but I had not really learned anything of value. And so, without beating around the bush too much, I'm just going to say that today we're talking about the possibility of the Earth being flat. Okay? Yes, flat. So, Greg, can you start with something that, I'm going to link some YouTubes here, but imagine that you were talking to someone who has absolutely no concept of this. What is the easiest, clearest thing to start with?
Well, let me start by stating that I live in Houston, Texas. It's a very large city, and you could drive for many miles and never see open land. There's just suburbs after suburbs and tall buildings now in the modern day all around, not only downtown, but our Texas Medical Center, the Galleria area, and beyond. I am very often on overpasses that you can see over a good bit of the city that extend, I can see many, many, many miles in the distance. Those buildings, I could still see the bottom of them if it weren't covered by trees and whatnot. They are not leaning back at all, or any of the qualities that you would expect from perspective if it was on the other side of a ball, where the curve should start at about, I think my understanding, about 3 miles or something like that if you're, say, a 6 foot person. That right there, as you had mentioned, we could see with our own eyes, but we're taught that empirical data and that what we see doesn't matter. We're taught to believe what they tell us.
Okay, so this man asserts that because he is 3 miles away from skyscrapers and he can still see the bottom, even though he admits he can't see the bottom because there's trees, and he also admits that he's on an overpass, which would increase his height. He can still see the bottom, and they're not tilting away from him. So this is proof that the Earth is flat. Okay, how many flaws are there already in this? A, he's not at ground level. B, he admits he cannot even see the bottom of the buildings because there's trees in the way. And C, he's expecting to see the buildings tilting back over only 3 miles distance. The Earth is huge. It's a huge sphere. The further you zoom in on the surface, the less you notice any sort of curvature. So a person who's 6 feet tall, you just from your own 6 feet in height up to your eyeballs, you can see 3 miles before any curvature hides anything of the Earth. Okay, so every foot you go up, you can see even further. So if you're on an overpass that's, say, 20, 30, 40 feet tall, you should easily be able to see 3 miles because you can see 3 miles standing on the ground. So 3 miles away, you would expect to see the bottom of buildings. And because we're not dealing with much of a curvature at all at this point, you would expect to see basically the exact same perspective as you would standing in front of these buildings. You wouldn't expect to see them tilted back as if they were a quarter of the way around the Earth. This guy just is making no sense here. Moving along.
Believe what they tell us. Well, I can see with my eyes that effect right there, and that's all I need to know. I don't need to know anything other than what I can see to know that there is no curve there. So I guess that's just the most basic, and then of course we can get into more specific science from there. But when I say science, but let's keep in mind too, science is a religion, and most of what going down the road, and I pointed out the buildings way across town and how they should be curving back from us, and we shouldn't see the whole thing.
You mean leaning back?
Leaning back, correct, not curving.
Yeah, and there's got to be a reason for it. Was the UN map?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to talk about that, or can we turn over to American David? Because he also had a very good way of explaining that.
Okay, so the logo of the UN, they use the azimuthal equidistant projection, which is from this one is from the North Pole. And basically, what this projection is when you take a sphere and you put it on a flat surface, you have to use a projection. There are lots of different types of map projections, and there are other agencies that do not use this particular type of projection and actually use a globe, believe it or not. Other examples of projections, the Mercator projection. You may have heard of it. It exaggerates the north and south poles because when you're on a sphere and you're trying to create the lines of longitude parallel, it exaggerates them as they get closer and closer to each other on the north and south pole. You also have the cylindrical equal area projection, the Eckert projection, stereographic projection, and one thing that he completely ignores is not only is there an azimuthal equidistant projection from the North Pole, but they also have a South Pole Lambert azimuthal equal area projection. Okay? What all this is doing is projecting distances from a certain point. You can do this type of projection, you could do it from London, and you could have all the distances equidistant from London. It just depends on your point of origin. They happen to use the North Pole with their azimuthal equidistant projection for the UN logo. That does not prove anything at all.
Which part? Explaining the flat map, the UN map?
Yeah, why don't you give a shot at explaining the UN map?
So there's, we have the globe that we're taught, is the way the planet's laid out since we're in, our first days of school, and every movie has a spinning globe on it, and that's what we're taught as the globe. But there was, many years ago, there was these flat maps, they're called the Flat Earth. I forget the exact name of the map. There's a whole bunch of different ones, but it happens to be the same map that the UN uses on their logo. Is that just them putting it in our faces, or is that them being nostalgic, to old thoughts? I don't know if you can prove it either way, but their logo is the Flat Earth map.
And may I add to that, in addition to that, many of us who have been digging down the rabbit hole know some about their numerology, and it is split up into 33 sections.
So yes, the UN flag uses the North Pole azimuthal equidistant projection in its logo. But what about the other UN agencies that happen to show a round Earth in their logo that doesn't have the same polar azimuthal equidistant projection, such as UNICEF, where they show a round Earth? The Human Rights Council logo, again, a round Earth. The International Monetary Fund, where they show round Earth, or more appropriately, a spherical Earth. So I guess these don't count, though. Okay, let's just focus on the one and not the other ones that don't use the same azimuthal equidistant projection, because these don't fit the whole flat Earth agenda here.